You know that coworker who always dumps their work on you, takes credit, and somehow never gets in trouble? Yeah, I had one of those. But the day he tried to push me past my breaking point, I set a trap so clever that it destroyed his perfect little freeloading routine and cost him weeks of pay. That if you've ever had a lazy coworker or a boss who just lets them get away with everything, this story is going to feel so good. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around because this is one of the most satisfying office revenge stories you'll ever hear. Hi, I'm Dragica, 40 years old, a mother, a coffee addict, and someone who takes pride in doing her job well. I work in a mid-sized corporate office, the kind of place where deadlines rule everything and teamwork is supposed to matter. And then there's Seth. If you've ever worked in an office, you know exactly the type. He's that guy who's always wandering around with a coffee cup in hand, smiling just enough to seem likable but never actually doing anything. He comes in late with some excuse about traffic, disappears for lunch for 2 hours, and somehow still manages to look busy when the boss walks by. But the worst part? For the last 6 months, I'd been his favorite target. It started with little requests. Hey Dragica, can you just format this document real quick? Or, mind proofreading this email before I send it? Small favors. Harmless, right? Except those little favors turned into full projects. Suddenly, I was writing entire reports while he strolled out early, whistling like he'd just finished saving the company. First, I tried to be polite. I'm a team player after all. But the more I helped him, the more he took advantage. And every time I pushed back, he'd find a way to spin it like I was being difficult. I even went to my boss twice. But Seth was slick. He always had an excuse ready. He was busy with another project, he was waiting on data from another department. He even played the victim once, saying he felt like I didn't want to collaborate with him. I remember the moment I snapped at it. It was a Tuesday morning. I just sat down at my desk with my first coffee when an email from Seth popped up. Hey, could you handle this client report? I've got a meeting. Attached was a massive spreadsheet and a deadline, due in 48 hours. My stomach dropped. This was one of our biggest clients. A mistake here could tank our relationship with them. And of course, Seth had done nothing. No prep work. No notes. Just dumped it all on me like I was his personal assistant. I sat there staring at the screen, my hands shaking. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I thought, why does he always get away with this? Why am I the one cleaning up his messes? Then I took a slow, deep breath. And for the first time, instead of saying yes, I smiled. See, a few weeks earlier I'd asked Seth if he knew much about Excel. He laughed and said, "Nah, I just copy and paste whatever I need." I remembered that little nugget of information, and that's when my plan started forming. That afternoon I agreed to take his spreadsheet. Sure, Seth, I've got it covered. And oh, did I have it covered. I spent hours building the report, but not the way he expected. I embedded hidden formulas into the sheets. Nothing that would raise alarms, just enough to slowly scramble numbers when copied. If you knew what you were doing, you could spot and fix it. But Seth didn't know the first thing about Excel. And I made sure it wouldn't look suspicious at first glance. By the time I was done, the spreadsheets looked perfect. Clean. Organized. Professional. Ready for Seth to copy and paste like he always did. Fast forward to deadline day. Seth strolled in late, as usual, sipping his coffee like he had all the time in the world. I watched him from my desk as he lazily clicked through the files I'd sent him. At first, everything looked fine. Then I saw it. That little crease forming between his eyebrows. What the hell? I heard him mutter under his breath. For the next hour, Seth clicked, copied, and cursed quietly to himself as the numbers shifted every time he tried to compile the report. At one point he came over to my desk, looking panicked. Dragica? Did you change the template or something? I put on my best confused face. No, I just used the data you sent me. Why? Something wrong. He swallowed hard. Yeah, the numbers aren't lining up. The totals keep changing every time I paste them into the report. I leaned in, squinted at the screen, then shrugged. Weird. Maybe it's a glitch? Try reloading it. And then I turned back to my work, letting him stew. By noon, he was sweating. Literally. He had taken off his jacket and was running back and forth between his desk and the printer, trying to salvage the mess. Our boss noticed and asked what was going on. Seth stammered something about a software issue. By 3 p.m. The client called. I could hear their voice through the speakerphone from Seth's cubicle. They were furious. The report was full of nonsense numbers. Seth turned pale as a sheet. He tried to fix it live while on the call, but the more he copied and pasted, the worse it got. Every fix broke something else. I sat quietly, sipping my coffee, watching him drown in the very work he dumped on me. By the end of the day, the report was still a disaster. The client hung up furious and our boss stormed over. This time Seth had no excuses. No scapegoat. No charming smile to save him. He got chewed out right there in the middle of the office in front of everyone. Then came the best part. He was put on unpaid leave for screwing up such an important account. For the first time in months I felt light. I went home that night with a grin so wide my cheeks hurt. And the next morning, Seth's desk was empty. And for the first time in a long time I actually enjoyed my coffee. Watching Seth squirm, sweat, and panic while his perfect freeloading system collapsed around him was the most satisfying thing I've ever seen. For once, the office golden boy couldn't weasel his way out. And the justice was delicious. Some people only learn the hard way. And sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, calculated, and impossible to trace back to you. If this story made you cheer inside, smash that like button. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had a coworker who dumped their work on you? What did you do about it? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories of karma being served cold.